Hey, what's going on? Commute car video. Just left the gas station. So, I'm almost at work, but I figured I'll do a car commute video because everyone loves them. Just kidding. Few people love them, but usually the commuters like them because they don't have to see a visual, you know? There's no video to watch. It's just a guy in his car. Oh shit, I didn't turn my lights on. A guy in his car just driving to work in the dark. But anyway, yeah. What a week. It's Friday. It's almost Christmas week. And New Year's, oh my God. And then tax time, right? The fun time. But anyway, let's talk about some crap. Let's talk about the payment. You know, we got paid from YieldMax, and guess what? Charles Schwab pays the same day. They pay a little later in the day, but they're paying on the payment date. And to me, at least from my experience, that seems to be an improvement from what was done in the past. Everyone always says they pay a day later. But I'm showing that they do pay, like after lunchtime, they make the payment. So, okay, I could live with that. I know I complain about Charles Schwab a lot because I came from TD Ameritrade. And I was a pretty big fan of TD Ameritrade. To me, they were really good because they, not only did they have Thinkorswim, but their regular brokerage platform was pretty simple, basic. Charles Schwab is just, they lack certain things. Like, there's no, like, you go on the app, for example, I can't see the price of the stock and my cost basis on the same screen. I have to shift to see that. I mean, that's ridiculous. Like, so I'm looking to see what I want to buy, and I'm shifting left to right off screens. So that's, to me, that's just inconvenient. And whoever made that app, is not very hands-on. They don't, I don't know. All I'm going to say is I hope they redo it. I'm trying to give them a chance, benefit of the doubt. They've been around forever, though, so this is like, if they haven't changed it by now, who knows? So yeah, but at least they paid on time, although they paid after TSLY recovered from the $10 range. Because I saw $10 and I knew like the Fed announcement was later in the day, and I'm thinking, maybe, I should just buy another 100, right? Buy another 100. And I logged in, I checked my balance. I didn't get paid, so I couldn't buy 100, and I'm not buying 10, TSLY I buy in chunks of 100, only because I have so many that if I buy 10, it's not going to do anything. So, what's the point? My other ones that I'm averaging in, which I should have done on everything from the beginning, I buy like typically 10 a pop or 5 a pop, depending on how much money I have. Like yesterday, for example, I bought, who was down? AMZ. I think I bought two stocks yesterday. I think I bought Netflix in the beginning of the day. I think pretty sure they were down a little. They were the only thing red early on in the day, and I averaged down. And then I bought AMZ, and they were down like over 1%. So when I see that, I'm buying that. I'm especially if I'm averaging down. And then guess what? At the end of the day, AMZ was only down, maybe 0.25%. So, I got a deal. So, and then this is the way. Like, that is, to me, it's the best way. And it's hard. I don't know about you guys, but it's hard for me to control myself. Like, I wanted to buy 20, for example, not 10. But I'm like, no, I gotta buy 10 because tomorrow it could go down even more, right? Or later in the day, it could drop by 5%, and I'll be like, oh man, why did I buy 20 at this? So, God, these roads are so dark. But I go on these roads because it's a little quiet for now until I get on the main road, and then you guys can actually somewhat hear what I'm saying. But yeah, I bought that's my plan from here on out. The problem is it works for some, like SPY-I, for example. It's a little more expensive, and I want to buy a lot more of SPY-I. So if I buy, I'm not buying any less than 5 shares. So 5 shares of SPY-I is not many. It's not much. I mean, it's more money than 10 shares of AMD, for example. So this guy's riding my ass. We're on deer roads. He's riding my ass. You gotta love it. I drive these roads for the peace and the quiet, and then you get D-bags everywhere. But clearly, he's not a TSLY holder, right? Or he's not a YieldMax holder. He's just a guy who loves his job, who's in such a rush to get to work. But anyway, what were we saying? So we got paid, and I so far have controlled myself, and every day I'm averaging in here and there, 10 shares, 5 shares each day. Like today, if my entire portfolio is green today, guess what? I'm not gonna buy. If most of it's red, I'm probably gonna buy the deepest discount depending on my cost average, right? So it all depends. And if you take TSLY out of the equation, I am doing pretty damn good on capital. So dollar cost averaging is, the way to go. It's the way to be, and it works really good. Again, the reason why TSLY is not working is because I bought just chunks all at once, right? And I'm paying for it because what happened is I bought so much at a high, and then when it drops, I had no, as they say, gunpowder left to buy. So it is what it is. And on top of that, they're now my highest allocation. They're like 50% of my portfolio, slowly going down. Maybe I might be in the 40% range now. But for that reason, I really can't buy anymore, right? So here we go on the main road. So it may get a little louder. But yeah. So that's my story right now. I did buy. So I bought AMC this week. I bought Netflix, and that's it. I think that's it. So I have about $1,300 left as of yesterday, plus a $250 deposit today. So I'll be back in the $1,500 range, which means I could buy, for quite a few days. If I buy, 10 shares a day, especially like with the YieldMax funds, that's about $200 a day. So that's okay. If I decide to buy SPY-I, S-Full, or some of these others, it may be different. But anyway, I just wanted to say, when I get paid, obviously I don't drip. I don't do dividend reinvestment plan because I don't want them buying on the payment date, for the same exact shares. Because I have no idea how much each YieldMax fund is going to be. Like, they could be priced at the high on that payment date. So why would I set drip? If I'm in an actively managed account, why would I set drip ever? Again, I gave a few examples where it's useful, which I'm not going to get into now, but that's in another video. But in summary, in a normal size account, taxable account, actively managed, there's no point, in my opinion, to use drip. So it goes into the buying power, and guess what? I use it. I use it daily. And you know what else happens when you take your time and you dollar cost average daily? You feel like you've accomplished something. You get the fix in, Every time I click buy and complete an order, I don't know about you, but it feels good. Like, I enjoy it. Yes, even though nothing's happening right away, but what's happening right away? You are lowering your dollar cost average. Like, your cost basis is going down, and that's a win in itself. So, but in time, your income is going to grow, especially if you're getting a deep discount on these, and you can possibly lower your cost basis, which would eventually lower your yield on cost at some point, you would hope, if there is any capital appreciation on these. And there can be, because you look at CONY, that is like the perfect example of how this could work, right? How these funds could work. Granted, coin itself, the stock, this guy can't drive either, God, the stock has gone up massively, coin, it's gone up massively. So, and Coney, it's not capturing all the upside, but the fact of the matter is, we don't need to capture all of the upside. We need to capture some of the upside, because you know why? Just talk to any Coney holder who's bought it, I'll say at least a month or more, ago. They are the happiest people in the world, and they don't give a damn that they didn't get all the capital appreciation. They're very happy with their little capital appreciation compared to the underlying. Why? Because they're getting paid handsomely. I mean, the yield on cost based on the current Coney price is over 100%. So can you imagine the yield on cost with a cost average of $18 or $19 or $20, right? So these people, are happy. I am one of those people, by the way. I think my average is 18, but it's a small allocation of my portfolio. I'm also one of those people who said at $20, who said at 21, who said at 22 that I'm not averaging up. Granted, it's biting me in the ass still, but it defeats the purpose of my goal, and that's to be capital flat or better on all of my funds. So I succeeded that goal in CONY, however, on a much smaller, allocation. Some of the other funds I'm ahead on. My cost basis is, better than the current price, or I'll say lower than the current price, but not to the extent of Coney. Like coin could drop 10% today, and I'll be fine. Some of these others, like if something happens, even like a 5% drop, that's a buying opportunity, it'll be under my cost basis. So, but yeah, so Coney is enough for you to look at these funds and say, okay, it is possible to get some capital appreciation, right? It is possible. So now let's talk about the TSLY. Let's talk about their baby. So why is TSLY not moving? Why is it stuck at $11, right? Many reasons, right? But the simple answer is look at the underlying, right? That thing has been moving a little up, a little down. Nothing drastic one way or the other, which is fine. Honestly, that's fine. So, number one, what does that do? Well, the IV has been under 50% for a very long time. It's at 40, the 30-day IV is at 44% last time I checked. And to give some perspective, Coney's IV, 30-day IV, is 75%. So, depending on how much yield they want to capture, like comparably, if they're trying to keep a similar yield on TSLY that they are on Coney, then they have to sell calls so close to the money. And they're doing that. They're selling calls 2 or 2.5% out of the money, week after week after week. But the biggest problem is, although Tesla is only 44% IV, which I say only, but it is high. It's, if they're going to continue to do that, like, look at yesterday. Tesla, what did it go up? It went up 5% in a day. Like, the fact that that's even possible, I don't care what their IV is. I think the strategy should change on Tesla. Again, Again, this is my opinion, not financial advisor, not financial advice. This video is for fun and entertainment. Because, honestly, people aren't going to like this comment, but I think it's slightly mismanaged. I don't understand why they would put such, they would risk it. They would risk, selling calls so close to the money when they understand that Tesla could, drastically jump easily. And as shown yesterday, 5% in a day. Clearly, they had a lesson learned on the 217.50. But it was a lesson. The problem is it wasn't learned. I think the reason I think is TSLY is their baby. Like, when you say YieldMax, what do you say? You don't say Coney. You don't say AMD. You don't say PP. You say YieldMax, you say TSLY. You say TSLY, right? And that's unfortunately how it's linked. So when people rip on YieldMax, they rip on TSLY. And that's because they don't look at anything else. If someone tried to rip on YieldMax and they talked about Coney, oh man, they would not have a good time. Or some of these others that have been like really good. Like, again, Netflix, such a recovery. What was it, $16 not that long ago? Look at it now. It's amazing. So, but the problem, these other underlyings, they're not as drastic as like Tesla. Tesla just goes woo, 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 woo. You would figure the IV would be higher, but it's not, I guess. So what should happen? I don't know. Maybe Tesla should do a stock split, a 10-to-1 stock split, and maybe that'll bring up the volume. Because retail investors, they see something that's $250, and they say, I can't afford it. So if I can't buy one share, I ain't buying it at all. But 10-to-1 split, right? It's gonna be what, $25, one share? Okay, I'll buy that. I'll buy a share. Maybe the volume would pick up. So that's one strategy. But obviously, YieldMax, TSLY managers have no control of what Tesla does. But that would be pretty cool, in my opinion. What else? Well, it's just, they could always just sacrifice a little yield. I don't know. I don't have to go back. I'm waiting to check the prospectus again because I know they're going to update it. Because in a video, Jay mentioned they're changing it from 5 to 15% out of the money calls to 0 to 15% out of the money calls, which I was not a fan of. Because they're kind of just doing it after the fact. Number one, it's not something that I wanted. But again, I'm no one. Obviously, I'm a little puny investor that's making videos about it. But it's that's just my thought. So I don't think they need. They just have to get over it, right? They may want it to say 50% yield or even 60% yield. But what's wrong with 40? What's wrong with 30? Right? Because, I don't know. We're just going to keep losing on the upside. Like yesterday, okay. It went up 5%. And guess what? We were able, I think it went up 5%. Maybe it's 3%. But regardless, it went to 250. And guess what our strike was? 250. Luckily, we were so out of the money because Tesla went down from our original, trade. So if it was based on a 2% out of the money, we would have been capped. So right now we're capped, and we still have one trading day left. So if Tesla goes to 160 or 260, guess who's going to sit there twiddling their thumbs saying, damn, I missed that. We missed out a little. So if you look at Coney, they got it down, man. They're scattering their strikes. Someone's working for the money there. I know they don't have to do that with TSLY. I don't know why they think that though. Like, why? You have so much money in that fund. why can't you scatter the strike prices? Like, why? One strike? Are you that lazy? Like, what is this guy doing? I'm gonna do a 2% out of the money on 255 for next week. Like, that's it? Are you on vacation every freaking, like, what are you doing? It's just not smart. And no, I'm not selling TSLY. No, I don't hate TSLY. But I just want it to work out a little better. That's it, a little bit. You know, I'm tired of seeing just bad call after bad call. And I get it. I know it's income only. But guess what? For people who are highly allocated in TSLY and they're done buying TSLY, and you're selling 2% out of the money calls, you know, they're not, you know, their income will eventually go down. Because guess what? You know, TSLY will go down some weeks and we will capture it all. And then TSLY will go up 5% some weeks and we'll capture half of that. So that's just how it's going to go. And that, either we accept it, we bitch about it on YouTube, or we don't buy it. I pick option B. I accept it, I own it, and I bitch about it on YouTube. And hopefully, you know, eventually I think things will kind of level out. I don't know, honestly, because I haven't been following Tesla price this close ever. So it's interesting for sure. But I also don't track the others like AMZ, Netflix, Nvidia. I don't track them as close, although I own them. But whatever they're doing is working, right? We're getting a 20 to 30% yield constantly. And guess what? The price, again, this is with DCA periodically, the price is staying pretty solid. So, you know, it's a little more noticeable on TSLY because my average sucks. And when your average sucks and you're looking at, you know, the TSLY price not moving or going up ever, it's a little more on the radar. So, you know, I could probably follow another underlying or be highly allocated in another underlying and complain, not to the same extent, but, you know, complain. There'd be a reason to complain. Because a lot of these calls, if you do look, when I periodically pull one up, it is close to the money. So it's, you know, that's what they do. But as far as I know, you know, not Netflix, maybe Netflix, but like Amazon, they're not going to jump random day like 5%, right? It's not like normal. Something crazy would have to happen. So, and that's the beauty. Like, that's the beauty of owning those other funds. They're, you know, they're a little more solid. You know, they're more like an index, right? They're just, Amazon's so big that it's crazy. You know, Apple too, although Apple doesn't pay that great as Amazon, so it's not as good. But I assume it's IV wise, because I guess the people that buy Apple they just hold it, so their volume is not like crazy. I guess Amazon is a little less more, you know, less like that. People are buying and selling more. I don't know. I don't compare the two enough, but maybe that's a video for another day. But yeah, that's my opinion on TSLY versus CONY. There we go. And then yeah, it's we'll see what happens. Again, I just think, you know, scattering the calls would be pretty cool. Maybe three a week. 2%, 5%, 7%. 2%, 3%, 5%. Something like that, right? At least capture a possibility of 5% per week. That's all I ask, right? But anyway, enough about TSLY. I don't want to harp on that too much. Let's talk about Defiance. I'm almost at work, but we'll talk about Defiance for a little bit. Defiance ETFs, QQQY, JEPY, IWMY. Market has been rough in the beginning of the month, and now it's doing well. Almost, you know, too well in some days. Because again, we want to sell puts. You know, these funds, they sell puts for an index, and they go in the money. And they don't go in the money that much. So we want, the strike. We want the index to meet the strike price daily. That's really the goal. We want the index to go up to the strike price. And that's it. No further. Because you want to save any further increases for the following day. Because anything that goes further above the strike, that's just lost out opportunity. Because if they would have sold more in the money, then guess what? We would have got a higher premium, right? And we would have won 100% profit. But it's nearly impossible for them to get that, But they're doing a pretty good job. It's really, these funds have, both funds are really hard, to manage. I can't even imagine, the stress on a daily basis. When you're about to make that trade, you're on the radar, man. You are on the radar. You better get this right, or people are gonna be pissed. Especially the QQQY guy, man. You better get this. You better sell that in the money. Don't go too far. Don't go too low. You better get a good one. And then boom. Oh, I screwed up. Everyone hates you. Your boss hates you. Every shareholder hates you. Yeah, no pressure there. But these funds are really, really interesting. And people always say, "Oh, wait for COVID to happen, or wait for the Great Depression." It's like, okay, let me wait another 20 years for that to happen. You have fun sitting on the sidelines. Don't buy it. Don't worry about it. But you wait for COVID 2.0. Okay, whatever you say. And granted, okay, if something drastic happens, right? What would happen? One day. What could happen? How bad could it be in one day? Right? Because again, they sell puts daily. So the damage, and they can close these out earlier, right? So if they see damage like that, maybe they would close it earlier. I don't know. You never know. Time would tell. Again, this is part of the risk. This is part of the game. We don't know. But for now, that's not happening, right? The market is up and down, flat. And guess who's making money? Option traders. But we're not the traders. We're buying options ETFs. They're doing the work for us. We're paying them a percent, and we're collecting, the benefit. So it's working out so far, right? And people that got in on, back, I don't want to talk about TSLY anymore, but people that got in early, $20, they're just so discouraged and they left and they're never coming back. That's very unfortunate because it sucks. And I get it. But it's just the timing. The timing was not good. So just like if QQQY, the first day of the first month, the index went down massively in one day. You're going to be like, well, this fund sucks. I just lost half of my money. Or I lost a quarter or 10% of my money. And you're not going to go back. But you have to, it's better to just try to understand why. Why did that happen? Instead of just saying this fund sucks, why did that happen? Okay? And then once you understand that, you'll have a little more comfort investing in these funds. And that's why, when I started this journey, it was confusing to say the least, because I'm like, all right, YieldMax, TSLY, they pay this. How do they pay this? What happens if this? What happens if that? And the only way to answer any of those questions, or all of those questions, was to just write it down on a spreadsheet. So I did that, right? And then eventually I'm like, okay, let me talk about it. And I talked about it. And then people said, okay, you got this wrong, you got that wrong. I'm like, okay, I did, and I fixed it. And then again, I made another video, get this wrong, got that, all right, I fixed it. After much trial and error, I think it's safe to say, for those of you that watch the daily videos at least, we all know how these funds work. And we are comfortable with the risk. And we understand the risk. And we think the reward is worth the risk. And it's as simple as that. There's nothing complicated about it. So, my plan is just the same plan. It's just buy more when I have money. And I'm going to keep buying more when I have money. And guess what? As more funds come out, like ProShares announced a covered call ETF on the NASDAQ 100s that sells daily covered calls. Like, what? What? That's awesome. That's really cool, because covered calls, selling calls, that's a bearish play. So QQQY sells puts on the NASDAQ daily. That's a bullish play. So you can go one way, you can go both ways. Like, it's like a sort of like a spread in a way. I don't know, but ProShares, I think they filed in October, I thought I saw. But we'll see. All I'm going to say is there's probably going to be more and more and more of these. And my challenge is covering them. Like, I can't. My head is going to explode, right? I'm trying, because now I have, the responsibility of at least acknowledging new funds. Understanding them, is another story. Okay, YieldMax and Defiance, I get it. I understand those. Curve, okay, they do monthly call, that's okay. But then, as more and more come out, you're just gonna be like, oh my God, everyone's head is gonna be spinning. But this is a new trend, and it's popular, very popular. Why? Because people want income. $500,000 was never enough to retire on, but now you can make it work. You can make it work, because it'll bring in more income than you would have ever imagined. And if you spread it the right way, guess what? You can make it work. $1 million, hell yeah, make that work. Oh, $1 million is not enough to retire. Speak for yourself, buddy. It is enough to retire. So if I had $1 million right now, would I have to go to work? No, I wouldn't. And I have 2 kids, young kids. Would I go to work? That's another story. Probably, because I'm not going to sit home. But, I would maybe do something else. Something with less pay, that I don't have, mountains and mountains of work piling up every day. So it doesn't matter. $1 million on these funds is a lot, But the game has changed. The game has changed. That's all I'm going to say. And who knows about it? The people watching this video. People, who are not afraid to take risks. The people who don't listen to the everyday, CNBCs and the, Fox Business is pretty much useless. They don't even talk about investing anymore. It's all like news. But there's no good. I don't even listen to any of them anyway. I honestly, I just can't. I don't watch TV. So I don't. The downside is I'm not updated on current events. But I don't even care. Like, I see, scrolling through some feeds. Okay, I see some big to-dos, but it's just noise, right? I'm just going on my way, going to work, investing, making a video, taking care of kids, going back to work, investing, making a video, taking care of the kids, and I'm doing that, as long as I can, until guess what? The work part decreases and the hanging out with the kids part increases, right? And the money increases. So that's the end goal. The end goal is financial freedom, whether it be to spend time with your wife and kids, or spend time with yourself, just stare at the wall, or just stare at hang out at the beach. We just want the option, right? Everyone works their butts off, their whole lives. Everyone works their butts off, but for what? There's got to be a reason, right? Or else you're not going to work. You have to have like some type of goal, some type of positive future that you're planning for, or else there's no motivation. So hopefully the least I could give you is motivation, because I'm not starting from a drastic point. I'm starting from the everyday 9-to-5 guy, both parents working, 2 children at home, almost paycheck to paycheck, money's tight. This is everyone. This is everybody. So I'm trying to, invest what I can, and still live comfortably. You know, I'm not saying I'm buried in debt, you know, but the only debt really I'm trying to carry is the mortgage. Obviously, credit card right now is a little out of control, but that's another story for another day. But it is what it is. I'm just sharing the journey of what's possible. Whether I succeed or not, we'll see. I think I will. But again, it's, you know, I appreciate everyone watching, and especially if you got this far into the commute video, you are a dedicated viewer. And if you did get this far into the video, and just to prove it, comment R.O.D, capital R dot lowercase o dot capital D dot. That's how I know you made it through the whole video. But anyway, I'm at work, so you know what that means. I have to make my YieldMax TSLY video, and yeah. So yeah, here's just so you guys know I am at work. But yeah, that's it. That was pretty long, 36 minutes. But thanks for watching. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Get your Christmas shopping done, or not, or make your wife do it. And that's it. I'm out of here. Later.